Hey YouTube, Old Salt Games here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, whatever day you may be watching this. I hope you're having a great day. This is a follow-up video to Does Stealth Work? And Does Stealth Work was made in patch 3.15, one of the iterations. I think it was 5. Yeah, roughly. And I wanted to expound and expand upon passive detection, what your numbers mean, and where the data can be found. So I utilize spviewer.eu to get all the ship data. I'm looking at the Eclipse right now. This data is directly from the patch. I hiccuped. And it's build number 8892745. So if you look under the summary side, which is right next to the name, it has weapons, hull, carrying capacity, fuel, radar emissions. This is what you're looking for. Radar emissions is not necessarily what you emit, but it's what can be detected passively by enemies. Okay, you have 3 sets of numbers here. You have EM, infrared, and cross section. EM has a little lightning bolt, and it says the base ship has 4,652 EM idle. It has IR, which is a little, what looks like bacon or 3 wavy lines, like heat waves coming off of something. Infrared, obviously. The base Eclipse has 4,418 infrared baseline. Now, cross-section is confusing to people because they don't know how it works. Well, cross-section is literally what direction is your enemy facing your ship could determine what your cross-section detectability range is. For example, the Eclipse is a radical example of that. If someone is facing you head-on or you're coming at them face first, your cross-section is 1,120, expressed in meters. If they're only looking at your cross-section, they could not detect you if you're more than 1,120 meters away, passively, not actively. Active pinging is one thing. Passively is when the chevron shows up. That's a passive detection. That's your radar system working. But if you look at it from the side, or if you're coming at an Eclipse from the side, either left or right side, port or starboard, you can see that cross-section at 9,100 meters away. If you're coming at an Eclipse from above it straight down or below it straight up, you're going to see that ship at 5,110. Okay, but it's 3-dimensional space, so it's a sphere, and those numbers kind of get interchanged and mixed together. So if I'm coming at you from the side and forward towards the nose, I might not get 9,100. I might only get 8,000 because of my angle of attack coming at you, right? It might reduce it by 1,000 because I'm kind of coming at you from the front, but I'm still getting a big chunk of your side, right? So it's in the background calculations of the game. You can't change it. You can't control it. You cannot reduce it. So that being said, the best thing you can do is control your vector of approach for a target, okay? The pilot must understand his vector of approach is critical for success, okay? And you ask any military pilot who flies a stealth ship of any kind, they're going to tell you vector of approach is critical. Okay? Period. So the other question came up about components. What is the difference between stealth and military, or stealth and commercial, and stealth and racing, whatever they call that? I forget. It's whatever it is. I don't even buy them. So you have military, commercial, stealth, and one other for performance racing. So the difference is military gives you the best of the best of the best with high emissions. Okay, you get the highest ratings of military type hardware. It's supposed to be the best of the best. Now there's some that will say, well, there's commercial shields out there that are better. Yes, but there's recovery times from distortion or EMP. There's all these things. They're all factored in and they're all different. The only difference in the game right now between all of those, besides the EMP factors and all that, is the stealth gives you more output with less emissions, period. That's all it does, okay? Stealth gives you more output with less emissions. A will give you the most output for the least amount of emissions. B will give you slightly less output for slightly more emissions. Okay, you see how it goes? Less output, more emissions. And C is going to give you less output, even less output than B, but even more emissions than B. So they're not as stealthy. Grade C is less stealthy than grade A. You get more bang for your buck when you buy straight grade A components. Now, in my Eclipse, I use nothing but straight stealth. That's because grade A straight stealth gives me the most emissions, the most performance for a ship with the least amount of emissions, which also affects your baseline. And when you suppress infrared, it's actively trying to reduce your heat signature. The gameplay mechanic, and I'm putting that in quotes, gives you a reduction right away. And what it's reflecting is your coolers are on maximum, and the systems are literally using masking technology to reduce your infrared signatures even more, okay? When you go in and you go stealth, quote unquote, and I put that in air quotes with your with your power plant, what you're doing is you're restricting the amount of power that the power plant can produce, forcing it to keep its emissions low. You do not need to use this, and I'm going to show you how and show you why. So I already have an MRT, and yes, I picked an MRT because it was the only thing available right now, the highest one available, but it's just an example to show you how this works. It works equally with LRTs, VHRTs, ERTs, MRTs. The mechanic is the same. They don't get better. All the levels of the bounties, as you know, dictate is what kind of ship your target is flying and how many adds and what type of ships they're flying. That's all it dictates. The performance of those ships is baseline across the board. The performance of the pilots is baseline across the board, and the improvements to the AI are impressive. So let's get out of third person. Let's get in the ship. We'll validate our systems before we take off. We'll always do a systems check. Oh, I walked under the ship like a dummy. There we go. I wasn't even looking up. I was just walking and talking at the same time. I wasn't even looking up, and I walked right under the ship. I always validate my systems like a flight check, a pre-flight check. As you guys know, I use voice command, and I have head tracking. So voice attack, and I have head tracking. So power up the ship. See, it thought I was talking. Power up the ship.
System checks.
There we go.
Stand by. Systems online.
Seekers look good. Weapons look good. I'm going to leave it on Seekers. I'm going to let that power up. Leave it there. I'm not going to target anybody. Okay. Number 2. A great way that you can check your numbers fast at a glance is by putting it in your HUD right here. Now, normally you see the bacon, the cross-section, the infrared bacon, the cross-section diamond, and the lightning bolt for EM. But you don't see the numbers. I'm going to show you where to get those. Go into Options, Game Settings, and scroll way, way, way down. You got to go almost all the way to the bottom. So it's almost all the way down. Here we go. It's under Pilot. It's below that. Where's it at? Come on, buddy. Here it is, under Social, Comms, Call Notifications. Right below that is Emissions, HUD, Emissions Heads-Up Display, Display Signature Values. It's defaulted to no. Click to yes, and get back in the game. What that gives you is this. It gives you your actual readout numbers. You don't have to look down at your MFD. You can look up. You can see the numbers. Good to go. Okay? So, let's go over here. Let's go in here, and that's on comms. That's target status. That's infrared, and that's power. So what I was saying is when I go to stealth, I click stealth. It forced my limiter right there to the stealth line. But that's a bad thing. Okay? Why? Because if you turn your shields off and then click stealth, it's going to run your limiter all the way down here. And then when you try to turn your shields back on, your ship will crash. It will literally not work. It will crash into the ground. It will go into an uncontrolled flat spin and you will die. So what I found out through play and testing, let's back up here. What I found out through play and testing is if you keep your power output bar, this bar, the bar right here on the left, that number, as long as that little white indicator, I'm gonna get zoom in here. As long as that white indicator right there is below the stealth line, you are not emitting more than you should be. And you'll see that right now at 46.55 with shields on, I am just 3 pips higher than baseline with grade A tech in this thing. And infrared at 44.17, I am 1 pip lower than baseline, okay, because of my type A, right? So, or my class A's. Now we're going to go into the flight. I'm going to get over there and I'm going to show you how I prep and detection ranges and all that other stuff. Request departure.
Complying.
Gotta wait till the sound of the door stops, because then I know it's all the way open. You may sacrifice being able to look up in this craft, but this thing is literally a laser-focused weapon. You only need to see ahead and to the sides. You're literally going to fly in, shoot something, and go. Launch heavy.
Affirmative. 30 meters. You have the con. Landing modules retracted. Gear coming up.
Marker. Oh.
The ship
I'm not
is
tracking my
yours.
bounty. That's why I have no marker. I'm not smart. Let's see. Bounty Hunter. Did they prop an HRT? They did. I'm going to accept that. And I'm going to track it. There we go. High risk target tracked. So, no, my MRT, somebody killed it. So I got a high risk now. Let me take a peek. Where's my... Right there. Nope. That's not the one I want. That's yellow. He's on Daymar. Hold on a second here, folks. Cave at Daymar. Okay. Let me do this. I'm just going to pop up to outer marker 1. There's my marker. So the mission says yellow, but the marker's on Daymar, so we're going to Daymar. That's all right. I know that the Star Citizen mission thing is a little wonky. Excuse me, pardon my drinking. I'm drinking coffee. It's still... it's already lunchtime here. No. Oh. It's going to allow me to jump to his marker. What do you know? No, it's not. So I'm going to have to jump up here, go around to the back of the planet. I think 751 kilometers. No, it's straight bloody down. I'll go to Kudra Ore and then fly out there. So this is going to be nice because Daymar is actually a really nice planet to fly above. It's very, very neutral. The sun side is very nice. And I actually ended up a lot closer to my target than I anticipated, which is good. Trying to keep that mission marker kind of in sight, in my eyesight, so I can judge when I need to come out of max blast, start heading down towards the surface again, and then setting up for my stealth run. So that's all right. It's an HRT. I had an MRT, but it expired apparently, or somebody killed it. And so the HRT popped, which is a good thing. Okay, I'm going to start nosing down a little bit. Bring it up. I'm going to start slowing myself down. Okay. It's just a long slog to get to this target. I don't mind. For the purposes of the video, though, you can see that I'm flying out there. And yeah, Nap of the Earth flying is cool and it works in real life, but it's not necessary in Star Citizen, at least not right now. But I mean, I could bring it down. I could get into, say, 1,000 kilometers of the ground-ish. And just boogie, boogie, boogie. So, yeah. At about 35K, I'm going to start slowing down and I'll stop and then creep in the rest of the way so as not to ruin my stealth. Nah, maybe 25K. 25K would be good. Alright, start slowing down here. And you'll notice I'm only like 900 meters off the ground. It's not real low, but it's not real high. Advantage mine. I'm going to keep my nose up to maintain my altitude so I don't drop. A little below that. Right about there. Okay, now I'm going to stop here. Deactivate shields.
Shields offline.
So shields are your biggest EM emitters on your ship, except for your quantum drive. You activate the quantum drive, your EM's going to jump to 10,000 right off the bat. At least on this ship it will, and I can show you. Activated, 9,100 right off the bat. I mean, and it's going... That's just the initial spike, and it's going to drop down, but it'll stabilize at about 7,000 or 8,000. But I turn it off, turn off my shields. Everything else, it goes down. Now I've got to let it go down from 7,000, but it should creep down to about 3,700. And notice that I'm not touching my power at all. I'm not clicking the stealth button. I'm not monkeying with that because it's not worthwhile. As long as you stay, as I said, below that line where it says stealth, and then you come in here and you suppress your IR. So look right here, you see 4417, click that. It drops immediately to 3578. That's active cooling and suppression of your infrared signal. Okay? So I'm keeping an eye on the numbers in the upper right and upper left of my HUD. When I get down to about 3,500 or so, 3,900 I should say, I'm going to start creeping towards good old Mumbles over here to end his existence. So I'm going to reduce my limiter down. So I'm right at about 90. This is just my sanity check because your engines do produce EM, your thrusters produce EM, and in atmosphere, in order for you to stay aloft at speed right now, your bottom thrusters are working. In space, they're not working. I could go decoupled, and that would possibly reduce my signature a little bit, but not enough to really matter. So you'll notice it's down to 4170, and it's still dropping because I'm maintaining a steady pace. I'm maintaining a steady speed of 93. Okay, here he is. He's in a big ship, or he's in a very heavily emitting ship. He's in one of the two. Okay, I'm going to switch over to my missiles, power them up. That one's powered fully. And I'm not going to do... Now, if you remember in my previous video, at about 6,000, I was actively targeted. Yeah, that's changed quite a bit. So, stop. There you go. That guy right there. This guy right here. Okay. No, not that ship. I want that. Come on. So 37 is my... Slow down a little bit. There he is right there. So right about 4,000 meters, I'm going to target him. I'll get my lock going. Here I am at 6,700, no detection. 6,500, no detection. 62, and it's still dropping. 59. All right, here we go. Starting to drift a little bit. 54, 53, 52. Looks like he's actively flying. I don't know why. 48, 47, 46. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lock. Missile lock. You see, he still hasn't even targeted me. I'm going to drop my bomb right about now. And I'm out. It's me. And there you go, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, That was a perfect hit, perfect kill, perfect execution. Not a point of damage, no shields, one missile. As I was passing through the group, they started locking me up and firing missiles. As I was passing through the group, they noticed me. Stealth works. No questions asked. It works even better than it ever has against PvE. We're going to test it out against PvP. One Nut Supreme and myself, and probably a couple other people. We're going to do stealth runs against PvP in eclipses. We'll see you then. Take care, and remember, no matter how old you are, you always got to play. Enjoy yourselves, guys. See you in the verse. 07 Star Citizen. Take care.